Today's episode is sponsored by the book The Cat That Played Chess, written by Katarina Cummings, brought to you by the Mocha Girls Read National Book Club. Zipporah Laverne is a product tester and gadget enthusiast living with her couch surfing friend Sloth and her cat Rookie, who has a unique talent for playing chess. When facing eviction, Zipporah sees an opportunity to make money with Rookie's talent and enlists the help of her ex-boyfriend Kenny to secure a talent agent. However, Rookie is stolen before the big commercial shoot. Zipporah's investigation into the theft leads her to uncover a murder and puts her in danger from white supremacists and an incompetent detective. Will her gadgets and intuition be enough to solve the case and find Rookie? Visit mochagirlsread.com to discover more about our sponsor and get your hands on The Cat That Played Chess. The links can be found in the show notes. Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. I'm your host, Tamara. Today we are discussing our October buddy read thriller / horror title. If you would like to see this in video format without commercials, you'll need to head on over to Patreon to sign up. We also have fun after shows and also exclusive content available for you over there. Don't forget, you can also join me and my two co-hosts over on the Book Clubs app for even more bookish chats. Please subscribe and like the podcast wherever you're listening. If you'd like to reach out to me, you can find me almost everywhere at Shelf Addiction. Joining me today is feature co-host Classy from the Bookish Virtual Assistant. Welcome back, Classy.
Hey, Tamara. I'm very thankful to be here.
Oh, well, I'm thankful you're here too. So please tell everyone where they can find you online, please.
Yes, you can find me on Instagram under the Bookish Virtual Assistant and Classy Green 1 because somebody hacked me, so I had to add a number. And then on the Twitter, aka X, yes. Classy Green. So yeah.
Okay. All right. So before we begin, as always, we just want to remind you that with book chats, we talk full spoilers here, so you've been warned. Today we are discussing The Hunger, written by Alma Katsu. The audiobook is narrated by Kirsten Potter. The book was published March 6, 2018 by G.P. Putnam Sons and Penguin Audio. The book comes in at 376 pages in hardcover, and the unabridged audio is 10 hours and 34 minutes. Classy, would you please share the synopsis?
Yes. Evil is invisible, and it's everywhere. Tamsin Donner must be a witch. That is the only way to explain the series of misfortunes that have plagued the wagon train known as the Donner Party. Depleted rations, bitter quarrels, and the mysterious death of a little boy have driven the pioneers to the brink of madness. They cannot escape the feeling that someone or something is stalking them. Whether it was a curse from the beautiful Tamsin, the choice to follow a disastrous experimental route west, or just plain bad luck, the 90 men, women, and children of the Donner Party are at the brink of one of the deadliest and most disastrous Western adventures in American history. While the ill-fated group struggles to survive in the treacherous mountain conditions, searing heat that turns the sand into bubbling stew, snows that freeze the oxen where they stand, evil begins to grow around them and within them. As members of the party begin to disappear, they must ask themselves, what if there is something waiting in the mountains, something disturbing and diseased and very hungry?
Dun, dun, dun.
This was a nominee for Best Horror Goodreads Choice Award in 2018. Wow.
Really? So now, okay, yeah, I guess I could see why it was nominated. It's horror.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay.
Maybe. Yeah, well, I mean, it got nominated. That, some folks thought it was.
Some folks.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, when we were looking at this actually does not have that many reviews in the scheme of things.
Ooh.
Yeah, I was looking at it on Goodreads
earlier. Only 3,891 reviews and 26,479 ratings.
Yes.
Yeah, that is not a lot.
That's not a lot.
Wow. And to get nominated?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, this is really different.
Yeah.
But so let's talk about it high level when you finished the story. What did you think, Classy?
Uh, th I was like, "That's how it ends? Like, that's the hunger?
Mm,
That that's" yeah, that's how I felt, but I did like the historical aspect, but that is what I felt at the end, like, "That's how you gonna end this story?
yeah.
You fed yourself to your daughters." Well, you didn't feed yourself, but
Ugh.
you had
You had the
cheeseburger
crazy Louis guy
yeah,
feed you
feed you
to
yeah,
yes.
so they could survive because she and that's another thing, like yeah, the cannibalism and the disease, yeah. Yeah, I was a little confused at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I finished, I thought, okay, I mean, it wasn't a horrible ending. I don't know what I was expecting, but not that exactly.
Yeah.
I was like thinking she would come in and save the day or something.
Right, with some
Um,
herbs or something.
yeah, do something, but she did not. And instead, she's like, I'll help you. Let me take these herbs to fall asleep. I'm like, okay, I guess.
Yeah.
It was okay. That's okay. I honestly, so let's start with why we picked this book. So we picked the book because, well, I wanted something with horror vibes for October. And we had seen this lady again. We seen this author at Thriller Fest. She was there. She represented there. I'm like, oh, that's this book has been on my TBR for a long time,
Okay.
and I just never really had the inkling to actually attempt
Tempted,
it.
right.
So
And this platform
after
is the perfect way to do it, to force you.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So, and to be honest, while yes, I don't read a lot of historical fiction, I have read and enjoyed some.
Right.
So I'm not like completely anti, but it definitely is more attractive to me when it has other aspects
Right.
like horror or fantasy or
A nice minstrel.
supernatural
Yeah.
or something to amp it up.
Yeah.
I prefer that over just regular historical fiction. But with that said, that's kind of why I picked it. I'm like, oh, it's got these elements and it could be fun for October. And I'm going to say, I'm sorry.
Don't
I
apologize.
apologize.
Do not apologize. You take
I
that back.
apologize.
You take that back. You didn't
Be
know. You
I
never
didn't.
know. Books are a crap it's all a crapshoot. You do
Yes,
not know what you're getting.
that's true. It had the hallmark things that I would look for
Yeah.
that are telling me, "Okay, this will be fine," and it was not fine for me. It ended up being okay, but I have to be honest, so I actually had the book because I bought this thing trying to get an autograph from the author, and she did not show up. That's
Right.
another conversation.
Yeah.
So, so
Exactly.
I was reading and listening, and I was trying to get this done really fast. I waited because I wait, and this was a mistake with this book. I literally finished this book 2 hours ago. I was coming in at the finish line, working, reading, listening. I'm like, oh my god, I should have started this last week.
Like, yeah. Yeah. But it's
So I
but you
got
did
it
it.
done.
But
I did it in 2 days. I
you
got it done.
survived the Donner Party.
I did. I survived, and I didn't have to eat anybody.
No one. No one was hurt in your
No
trek
one
to
was hurt.
finish The
Yeah,
Hunger.
right.
Yeah. Do not apologize.
Oh, thank you.
As readers, like, you know what I mean? Like, we don't know if the book is gonna be good or not.
Yeah.
I could see if you had read this ahead of time, kinda like with me in the last book, um, but I totally blanked out on why I liked the book.
Mhm.
But, like, you didn't know, and
Right.
that's just what happens, you pick it up, and it's like, that's the joy and pain of being a reader.
Yeah.
Yeah,
2
so
sides of the same coin kinda thing.
mhm. So, no, um, and it always I mean, we get to discuss what we like and don't like, so please
Mhm.
yeah, don't apologize.
I actually have some notes here.
Ooh.
So, we're gonna see how the notes do me because as I, like I said, I was rushing, and so my notes are all on sticky things. They're disorganized.
I
I
saw
didn't do
little
my
flags in your book.
There are flags in the book. I was just trying to remember important things. And originally, I really needed a character list.
Yeah, it was way too that was one of my cons.
Yeah, mine's too. I feel like the author should have narrowed the scope a little bit.
Definitely. Yeah. She should have picked just 3 3 main characters and
Mhm.
points of view maybe, but I mean, it was like 8, wasn't it, or 10?
I didn't even count. I just started trying to remember this guy is married to this girl. This girl is such and such daughter.
Right.
This
And
guy,
it was
and
like so many stepchildren and somebody
yeah,
was adopted and yeah, and
yeah.
yeah,
So that was my biggest. I think I have 2 big complaints. So one was the cast of characters, way too many, and I feel like we did not need to get into the history of all of these characters either.
right.
Um, it was just too much information. And then I think the author was trying to fill pages with that, but I would have preferred her to spend the pages on the second leg of the trip because to me, the fun stuff, the good part didn't start till about 70% in when the supernatural things start happening.
Yeah.
And I'm like, she could have shortened the beginning of this trip and elongated the back half and made it scarier.
Yeah, and more suspenseful because, like the beginning, like she drew us in with the missing boy. I was like, "Holy crap, there's a missing child." And then when they find the child, he is ripped to I mean, he's, gutted
Yeah.
basically. And so now it's like, so what's going on? But then we go from that to like you were saying, everybody's backstory, every character, and I got that a little bit because as at the beginning of the story, you want to know who these people are. But then
Yeah.
when we started getting further into the story, I'm just like, is this because it almost felt like a Western romance for a little bit
Mhm.
there. Because so and so, she likes them, and I'm just like, oh
We
my
started
god,
getting too much
girl,
into that,
I
like,
felt like this was one of those books my mother-in-law would bring me about the
yeah.
cowboys and the love story and her bosom and his legs, and I'm just like, okay, Alma, we get it, but I
Yeah.
wanted the hunger. I wanted to know what was stalking them, what ate that boy,
Yeah.
what ripped him to shreds, and yeah, it was just way too many characters.
Yeah, too many characters, too many things, and it did kinda come together at the end, like, I kind of remembered, "Oh, yeah, Reed got kicked off because he killed someone,"
I
so
know. You did have to write that stuff down.
yeah.
You did because you would forget by the time we got to that end part.
Mhm.
Yeah, because
I'm
I
like,
was
"Oh,
just
yeah, that saved his life because he got kicked out."
yeah, because wasn't there like the Halliford guy and then there was
Yeah.
Kieseberg and yeah, it was just like who is yeah, I should have did that too, but it got to the point where I was like you, like I just want to get this over with.
So, I think, to me, the main ones I remember is James Reed because he was married to the Mormon woman with all the kids,
Mhm.
and he also was gay,
Yeah. They kill me
which
with that.
yeah, and I knew early on, I'm like, he keeps saying, "Oh, I'm
The way
dirty,
he
I'm this, I'm that." I'm like, "Is he gay?"
right, and he touched my wrist and I was like,
Yes. I'm like, "Oh, he's gay." And then the scene where he oh my god. So the guy he's messing around with, like, flips the script on him, and I'm like, "What is happening?"
yeah. It
I
was a
couldn't
power
understand.
trip. It was just it was a power trip.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but I felt like it was, like, kind of out of nowhere because we didn't really have any scenes that I recall with them together, like, I would have wanted to see that relationship in real time and not just
From, Reed's thought, because it wasn't his point, but it was like his flashback
yeah,
and him
flashes. It
yeah,
wasn't even a whole
flash
vision. It
yeah,
was just
right, little bits and pieces, him grabbing me, what was his name?
Yeah.
Halliford? Was it whoever he was a brute
Yeah.
who was homophobic but gay, but thought he wasn't gay because what he did wouldn't be considered gay. So what was he like a
He
top?
was the
I don't
receiver, not
know,
the doer.
girl.
So he was the receiver of, the
Thank you.
oral, not the doer,
Right.
so he didn't think he
He
was
was
gay.
gay. Right. Right. Because he's like,
Like, "Sir,
yeah, like
you are."
who you served? Is that what you said?
I said, "No, sir. If you're any participating at all, you're gay.
Yeah. Because
Trying to act like you're not."
yeah, because he kept calling them the F word and,
Mhm.
trying to degrade him because,
Which was awful.
yeah, yeah. But I mean, it was during those, that's the historical part of it. But yeah, he was a brute and he knew he had the upper hand over this man. But yeah, it was,
Yeah.
and it's,
He
at,
was a teamster, wasn't he?
yes. And it almost was like, oh, we got a gay character. But then it was kind of like, this is how you do the gay character?
Mhm.
I think we had that issue with another book too, where you just
Yeah.
you throw one in there really quick, and I'm just like,
Yeah. So that was kind of there, and then he was gone after he killed him.
yeah. Well, didn't he get ousted? He got
Yeah,
banished. Yeah, he
he
was
got banished.
banished.
They were going to kill him,
Hmm.
but then his wife came and pled his case, like, "He's a good man, he got us all through this part,
Yeah,
let's hear what I'm saying before you make a decision," and they're like, "Fine, you get a horse and that's it," or something. They didn't let him take anything.
right. Skedaddle.
Yeah,
But I
beat
mean,
it.
he was on the rich side. He had like a big fancy wagon. So, but
Mhm.
yeah, they gave him. I mean, the rations were getting low. But yeah, I mean, right. So we have Reed, and who else do you have that you?
So I had Luke Halleman, who is the old man. His story was substantial.
Mhm.
And then I had Tamsin and Donner. They're married.
Husband, yeah, George,
And then it was Mary and what's
Mary
that guy's
Graves,
name?
and Stanton.
Stanton, yeah.
Did I list those? Yeah, I'm just remember from top of my head. But yeah, Stanton.
Who also had an affair with Tamsin as well.
Yeah, yeah, we were really getting some Harlequin
Yeah, there's a lot of crossing
Western.
of yeah.
Yeah, yeah, but
And of course the one eldest daughter who could see ghosts,
Aletha
yeah, I don't know, Aletha, Alethona or something,
with the
who loved the Indian boy Thomas.
right. Yeah, and then you had the
So,
creepy predators. Which I
yes,
mean, they
the
exist,
guy who was molesting girls and raping girls.
and yeah,
There's
and
just everything in this kitchen sink thrown in here.
yeah. I mean, I wouldn't doubt it. But yeah,
It was just all over the place. I wish, like we said, just narrow the focus a little bit.
right. Yeah, because just talking right now, I'm less like, "Ooh, yeah, it was a lot."
I needed a chart.
Yeah.
I need a
Mhm.
chart.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I've missed a lot of the names of the other families that were kind of floating around. I
They
don't
weren't
have it.
important.
Yeah, they weren't important, but the author is bothering to tell us people's names and
Yeah.
the relation, and I don't remember it.
So, what I wind up doing after reading the book, and I probably should have did it while reading the book, I went and looked up the story of the Donner Party,
Hmm.
and did see all the, because she used the actual names.
Yeah,
She did
she
not,
did.
yeah, she did not change the name. That's the names in these stories have not been changed. I feel like I should say that, like when they do that in Law and Order. The names have been
Mhm.
changed to protect the identity. No, these were not changed in this story, but it's historical fiction. So yeah, that's how I found the names and the connections. I went and looked up the Donner Party story. But like you were saying, some of the names were not important to the story because I felt like with the hunger, it should have just stuck to, possibly the ones who saw. Oh, wait. Yeah. Let me go back. I was just like, "Squirrel, go back."
Okay.
Come back, Classy, come back."
Like,
Uh,
roll it back.
yeah, yeah. Like, it shoulda just stuck with the characters who encountered people who were hungry or, had heard of, like, 'cause Stanton was waiting on these letters from this guy, and in his letters, I believe he was telling them, like.
Don't come.
Right.
Yeah.
So, like, Stanton should have been a main character that we should have, like, focused on. Tamsin had, faced, was it Halloran? No, it was the older guy, right?
Yeah, Luke Halloran, I guess.
Right, whoever, because he tried to attack her, and they wind up killing him because remember he said he could just taste it and he wanted to eat her? That guy. Was that which guy
Well,
was that?
okay, so the old man, he was the one that was telling Tamsin, "I'm hungry.
Yeah,
You're
that
my
one.
friend, right? You're not gonna let me starve,"
Yeah.
and then she kills him.
Right. So she encountered the hunger.
Mhm.
Stanton would have encountered it if he would have gotten those letters.
Mhm.
And then who else? Like those could have should have been the characters
'Cause
that.
Stanton was the one who offed himself
Yeah,
with the gun after his little girlfriend, Mary, went away. He
right.
got her to
Smoked a
leave.
cigarette and
Mhm.
yeah,
His last cigarette.
just like a cowboy.
Oh my gosh. So, I think okay, so we mentioned how many characters there are, and we could go into each set more if you want, but
Mm-mm.
it's a lot.
Yeah,
So, I feel like if y'all don't know about the Donner Party, and to be honest, I remember it,
from history.
but we didn't study it like that in high school or middle school. I just remember it in passing. I didn't know all the details. I knew high level.
Yeah.
High level, these people went out there, they got in trouble following a shortcut, and a bunch of people died.
Hmm.
And cannibalism. That's pretty much the most I knew about it,
Right.
to be honest.
Yeah.
So after reading the book, like you, I did look up the Donner Party and I wanted to see what I was missing from the story. And I suggest you guys do that too.
Yeah.
So, because I can't explain it to you, like, other than like the main points, right? We will be here all night trying to explain. And of course, the author has a really great site. Did you notice on her website she has fact versus fiction, a
Yes.
page on there?
Hmm.
So she even breaks down like what she chose to embellish on and what existed, what didn't, what changed. So she did do a lot of tweaking because this is fiction,
Right.
but a lot of it was similar.
Yeah, it really was. But,
Yeah,
like, and I've read some reviews too, and people are like, "Well, their life was already bad enough. Why did she do this?" It's fiction, and she
it's
was trying,
horror.
yeah, and she was trying to add that twist. And I'm gonna kind of piggyback on what you said, the horror part. Like, I didn't feel the horror.
Mm-mm.
Um, I'm not a horror aficionado. I don't read it much, but I do know, like, it's supposed to leave you. I wrote, here's my notes, like an element of some kind of obscurity, like you're puzzled, you're like, what, like she leaves us in limbo, like at the beginning of the story somebody is eaten, we know somebody's lurking in the shadows, and but then she gets to a point where she describes the hunger, like, so, and I'm just like, now I know what it is. Now it's some man who, and that's the other thing when I went squirrel, you know what I mean? It was like somebody said a disease or a virus, and the white man brought the virus, and now they're infected and diseased.
But what is the virus? What is it?
Yeah,
Is
and
it?
is it
I feel. I'm
rabies?
like.
Is it
I'm like, is he a vampire? Is she trying to say vampires
I wasn't
came
sh
and infected people?
yeah. Or right, and I'm thinking, did they develop rabies? Because at one point it was like they seemed like rabid dogs. Because they
But
were
some of
walking all
them,
on fours
I
like
know,
demons. Because and at one point it was like, are they demons? They're walking on
yeah,
all fours, and I got that, and I was like, okay. But then it
yeah.
got to a point where it was no longer a horror suspenseful obscurity thing because she kept explaining things and I'm just like,
It started to get murky. So I'm like, well, what is it? Is it a virus? Is
yeah,
it a are you trying to say it's supernatural that is like vampirism and people are changing people like from a bite or a cut?
right.
Are you saying they lose control and eat, or they eat or them or turn them?
Yeah, like, is this the Walking Dead
I was
Pioneer
getting
style?
distinct I was getting distinct vampire vibes, but she
Mm,
wouldn't say it.
yeah,
And then so it's like, are you trying to make this science-y? Are you trying to, like, make a vampire sound you trying to science it to death? I
yeah,
don't know
yeah, I really
what
did.
she was I don't know what the goal was.
Right, that endpoint, because that's what I wrote down too. I was like, was it virus, rabies, cannibalism, zombie? I don't know what the heck she was trying to do, and then the way it ended, I'm just like, I'm still okay, it's cannibalism, okay,
So,
but
I think she had more than one thing going on. So, I think honestly, hunger, the title is several types of hunger.
yes,
So
got that
we
too.
have the hunger of the creatures that look like men, but sometimes are like animals and they
Mhm,
look different. Then we have the hunger, so they're eating other people through cannibalism. And then we have hunger because people are starving and dying.
yep. And I
Um,
got oh, is that all your hungers? Because I
no,
got
you
some
got
other
one more? What
yeah.
is it?
Um, Man versus Man, Keysburg. Remember when they went back and Keysburg met up with his uncle, was it? Or cousin? And he kept saying the Keysburg curse
Mm-hmm.
and that hunger there. Their hunger was for come on, wealth, and they were
Mm-hmm.
greedy,
Yes.
that hunger. But like that supernatural element was like man versus nature, man versus man, man versus self. And that kind of was like Kieseberg, he was constantly trying to because well, he was like slick at cards and always trying
Yes.
to get over on somebody. And then you had the one man that was selling the bad drugs or the bad, you know what I mean? So it was all those kind of hunger for money and power. So yeah, I did see her different hungers
Yeah.
in the story.
And some of it was like the one, I can't remember the character's name now. It told the story of when he was younger and his uncle or daddy was like they were eating people back then.
Yeah, I can't remember that character, but yeah,
So I'm like, well, wait, are you a vampire? I swear, I keep trying to make it a vampire because I'm like, this is fiction.
I would
It's
have
horror.
preferred a vampire.
It's supernatural. I feel like I want one of two things. Either you're telling me this is a virus that makes people wanna eat people, and you're giving me the science about it. Or it's supernatural and they're vampires and they're eating people, and who knows, this white man from Europe is a vampire, and now here we are.
Right.
Something, one or the other. It was just too ambiguous for me.
Yeah. Right.
That was my one of my big gripes about it.
Yeah, because we didn't know. Like, were they eating people? Like we knew they crawled on feet, on legs.
Some of them did, but some of them didn't.
Didn't.
So it's like I feel like
Yeah.
it's like COVID. Think about it. Some people walk around and have no symptoms.
Oh, look at
They're
you.
fine.
Look at
Some
you.
people die. Some people have long COVID. Some people are upright walking around
Mm.
drinking the blood. Some people are like rabid beasts,
Mhm.
depending on how you react to it.
Right. Okay, I can see that. But, but I remember them saying what they thought a white man brought this virus,
Mhm.
but then it's just like, so if it was a virus, but then the cannibalism part. Like, that's, you know what I mean?
I
Like,
just think that's two
cannibalism,
separate things.
they are. And that's why when I said that ending, I was just like, okay, so you guys, they wound up eating because they were hungry
Yeah.
and they had to survive. But what about that virus you mentioned? Like, that was a plot hole. What we're gonna do with that virus?
And let me throw this in like a big fat wrench. So the chapter when the beast came, the things came and took a bite out of that cow,
Yes.
and they were like, "Oh, we don't want to waste the meat." I said,
Thank
"Man,
you.
what y'all doing? Don't eat it."
Exactly.
So they ate it, and people turned. They turned.
See what I mean? But then you end it like that. You should have kept that momentum. She should have kept that effing. You're right. I do remember that because Mary's sister turned.
Yes.
And that was that really funny turn in the story because her sister turned, they had to kill her, or did she?
Mhm.
And then Mary leaves with Stanton, and then Stanton, I think he
'cause they're
became
like, "We have to
infected or
get out
something
of here."
because he became infected, right? Because
Well,
wasn't he getting hungry and was kind of looking at her like a hot dog or something?
he was after he got bit. Like, he wandered away.
Right.
Because when he came back to them, Mary's like, "Why did you leave
Leave.
us? Like, you know
Right.
it's dangerous out here." So he went away, got bit,
See?
came back, and he's like, "I can feel it in me."
Right. You looking like a hot dog on a
Yeah.
skewer.
He's like, "I wanted to kiss her, but what would happen?"
Oh, I better stop that.
He's hungry.
And see what I mean? Like, that's
Yeah.
that part. Like, she should either stuck with that or the freaking cannibalism, because
Yes.
these people apparently it was transferable.
Mhm.
You get bit and you turn into a vampire or werewolf, whatever the hell is going on.
You
But
get bit, you eat infected meat.
Mhm.
What else causes it?
I'm
I don't know.
assuming right. We don't know the source, but she should have stuck to one. Was it
Yeah.
cannibalism or was it?
The people at the end of the book that Reed found, one of his daughters was there, but they were that guy was feeding them people, but they hadn't turned.
Yeah.
So he was feeding people to the things in the woods, and he was feeding people to
survive.
the survivor,
Right.
So, but then it just seemed cut and dry. They're just plain old cannibals.
Right.
So it's like, well,
yeah, it was that ending with Tamsin and Keysburg it was anticlimactic. It was dry. It, like you were saying, that's where she should have drawn out the story, that second leg of the story, instead of the love story and the history of Reed and his relationship and Donner and Tamsin sleeping around with everybody.
Okay, I gotta ask questions about Tamsin, but let's take a quick break. We're at our break time.
Tamsin was a thought.
She was a thought. A divorce thought.
Yes.
Or was she a widowed thought? I can't remember. Did her first husband die? That's how she ended up marrying.
Yeah, first husband died. Yep.
Okay. So y'all check out these commercials. Please listen to those. By doing that, you are supporting the show. And while you're at it, check out the Book Review Journal. There's a link for it to Amazon. We'll be right back. Today's episode is brought to you by the Shelf Addiction merch store. Check out all the bookish t-shirts, notebooks, mugs, and more. Don't miss out on these original designs, perfect for any book nerd. Support the podcast and visit shelfaddiction.com/merch and pick up your next favorite bookish item. All right, welcome back, guys. So my question about the thought. So I did not, like I said, I finished this thing a couple hours ago, so I didn't have time to go back and reread this section. But when we got her little history at the end, where we got her wedding with Donner.
Yeah.
I said, Was she in love with her brother?
Yeah.
Was that her brother?
Yes.
Ugh! I'm
Yes.
like, "Wait a minute."
Yes.
I'm like, "Please tell me that guy is not her brother." It read like it was her brother, but I
Yes.
was like,
That was her brother that she was in love
"Oh,
with.
oh god." And
Girl,
the
you
brother's
know
like,
that
"Are you
existed.
sure you wanna get married?" I'm like, "What?"
Yes. That was her brother she was in love with, and she was pining.
Look, this is the 18th, 1800s.
Girl, you know folks marry first
But
cousins and stuff.
first siblings? Like, your brother?
Did she
I
have anything on her fan fiction
Dude,
about that, why she
okay.
chose that?
No, I didn't see anything on her site about that, but I
Yeah,
didn't read all of it either. But
yeah,
I'm like, I know back then they married cousins and
right,
uncles and aunties, but brother? Siblings?
yeah.
Whole blood siblings?
Right, I doubt
Ew.
if they would have married, but they would have stayed in that
They
same
would have
house,
been
and she
together.
yep, and she would have raised those kids,
Mhm.
Auntie Tamsin, but sister and brother, this they had some little Game of Thrones.
Keep it in the family.
Yep.
But instead, she chose to marry Donner, and she was not really happy with the old man she married. So she's like, I'm about to sleep with everybody that I want
Mhm.
to make up for this
Yep. Yep. And
choice.
he knew it.
Yeah.
And he basically knew it, but back then, men did not want to raise children alone, so she could sleep with whoever who she
Oh,
wanted
they
to, 'cause
don't now. I'm just saying.
facts. You see, I didn't disagree. But, he had all these girls and, girls need a woman to raise them. So he was like, "Okay, she's taking care of my family. I
Yeah.
guess I can't, satisfy her the way she wants to be."
Yeah.
And he let her go on her way.
Yeah, and you can't be single in that era. You need to if your husband or wife dies, you need to re-up real fast.
Yeah,
Get
and
another one.
yeah, they weren't playing back then.
No.
Yeah. So, but yeah, old Tamsin got around and she didn't play.
She got around. Oh boy got around after Lydia died. What was that guy's name again?
Stanton.
Stanton.
Mhm.
When his first little next door neighbor girlfriend, see a whole nother drama within drama within drama. So he is in love with the next door neighbor.
Yeah.
She gets pregnant by her daddy. He tries to rescue her. It
See,
fails.
she should have figured out what the heck she wanted to do with this
Yeah,
story.
this is a whole nother set, like a whole story within a
Yeah,
story
and
for
then
each of
daddy
these
pays him
characters.
off to leave
Yes.
town to not tell his story, but then
Yeah.
turns around and say, "I want my money back.
I know. Give me my money back. What? I'm like, what money? What you
Come
talking
get
about?
come
So
see
what does
me."
he do? He runs and gets on
The trip.
board with all these wagons. Okay, I'm out of here then. I don't have money to pay you, so I'm out.
Yeah,
And everyone thinks that he got a girl pregnant and left her and she killed herself.
yeah.
So he's got this bad boy reputation, which is not real.
No.
It's
No.
so funny when he confronts the girl, "Do you not like me? Are you mad at me?" And she's like, "No." And she confesses that she's pregnant by her daddy.
Yeah, because when she said she's
And he
pregnant, he was
he's
sounding like, "We ain't did nothing. How you pregnant?"
he said, "How did that happen?" He's like, "Oh, I know how
Right,
it
how did
happens,
that That's exactly right.
but"
Right.
he was waiting to find out who it is, and then when it found he's like, "Oh my god." He was very
Yeah.
he's like, "Who did she get with? Who did she date?" I mean, he's all like, "Are you happy? You getting married or what?" She's like, "No.
Mm-mm.
No."
Yeah, I think Alma could have I don't know, it's like you said, she should have picked 1, maybe 2 subgenres with this if it's gonna be historical fiction, historical romance, but she dibbled and dabbled in too many subgenres in this book, and
I
it took
agree.
away from the supernatural, paranormal horror that this book was promoted or marketed as.
Yes. Or we could have gotten like I would have liked to see more of the eldest daughter. Is that the one who could see ghosts?
Olytha, yeah.
Olytha. I would
Mhm.
have liked to see more of that.
Yeah.
Would have liked to see more
The
of the
voices
experience from the Native Americans.
yeah, definitely.
I mean, there was so much more that could have made this very scary. So the quote on the front by Stephen King is, quote, deeply, deeply disturbing, end quote. It's not that. It's very vague. And I guess it is if you have like what do I want to say? I don't want to offend anybody, but if you have a delicate sensibility and you
Mhm.
don't read this kind of stuff, then yes, I guess it would be deeply disturbing. But this is kind of a well-known piece of history, and cannibalism isn't new and edgy.
No, no. And the
So
cannibalism in this story is not graphic.
it's
It's
no, it's
like
like
at
I
the end.
mentioned.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like a
yeah,
fade to black cannibalism. It's in
right.
it's at the end. And even the hunger is not even cuz nobody really was well, somebody else might have been eaten, but but it wasn't. But I mean, it's a good selling point. If you can get Stephen King to say deeply disturbing, people are like, "What?"
They paid him.
Oh God.
I'm like, come on,
I
girl.
never um pay attention to people those little
Somebody he owes somebody a favor, and here you go.
yep. You see how
Because
short
I'm
it
like,
is. Yeah.
deeply, deeply disturbing. No, it's not. Not to me. It's kind of
No.
flat. It's kind of okay. Apparently, it takes a lot to make me disturbed.
Well, you know what though? If you watch, like I watch Signs of a Psychopath, True Crime, I'm like, I've seen
Yeah,
some
I've seen disturbing. That's not quite it.
women who kill, black women
Hmm.
who kill. Come on.
She chose to delve into these relationships, but not of the horror part. The horror part is very surfacey. And like you said, Classy, she could have just did a historical fiction without these other it's like she should have picked a team and got on it.
Yeah.
Either you're gonna go all in on the horror aspects or you're not gonna do it at all.
No. No. Yeah. This was more romance. I
Yeah,
was
it's like the Titanic, but instead it's about this group of people that tried to cross America. Like you can tell all of the romance and the horrible things that happened without adding quote unquote traditional horror elements or supernatural things.
right. Yeah.
She didn't need to do that.
No, because I mean, just that trip alone and the starvation and the those all were right. You didn't need that. You didn't need to do the hunger part.
Right.
Um, yeah,
I don't know. I just felt like I thought I was getting one thing and I got another.
yeah, and
I felt a little duped.
yeah, and it wasn't bad. Like I did like the historical that
Mhm.
and it was like, how do I? I know I have to like dissect it and take it apart because I did like the I like historical fiction.
Mhm.
But she just had too many subgenres in there and it got distorted and um the character development or the backstories, it was weird. Her time jumps were weird. They were
Mhm.
very weird, especially audible. I mean, not audible,
Yeah.
but audiobook wise, because you're just like, what was the one guy that was writing to his fiance, and I can't even remember his name, but it'd be like all of a sudden
Mhm.
somebody's writing a letter and then something, and it was just odd at
Yeah.
moments. So yeah.
Yeah. So, I'd like to take some reviews sometimes. So on Goodreads, Will leaves a review, and I think his percentages are funny, but I think they're kind of right. About 70% of The Hunger is an industry standard romance novel. 40% is rustic heterosexual fan fiction. 8%
Ooh.
is juicy incest fan fiction. and 22% overwrought homosexual fan fiction. There may
Um,
not be a ton of food, but there's plenty of longing, furtive glances, and things of that blah blah blah. Okay.
I might agree with him.
I kind of agree. A lot of people DNF'd, and if I'm keeping it real 100, if this was not for the podcast, I wouldn't have gotten to the good part because it didn't get good to me to around 60%.
Yeah, I told that's where I was like, "Oh, it's debatable where you go think it's good, where it gets good."
I would have never
That
gotten to
net
the good part. I
yeah.
would have quit
Yeah, because it
at
was
20%.
yeah, yeah, I agree.
So,
Totally agree.
oh my gosh. But I mean, if we have to talk about something positive, the narrator was great.
Yeah, definitely. I did like her.
Yeah, we've listened to other audiobooks
Have
with
we?
her. Mhm. I'm
Which
gonna
other
pull her up
ones?
right quick. We have read or listened to, or at least I have, Little Secrets by Jennifer Hillier. We did that together.
Okay.
Spells for Forgetting, I read that. I don't know if you did that with me.
No. But
Sundown Motel was by Simone St.
okay,
James
yep, we
that we
read that
did.
one.
There's some others you might have did. The Couple Next Door, did you do that one?
Yes.
And some Diane Duvall romance books. So I've heard her voice a good amount of times.
Okay.
So she's definitely good. I did listen at 2x.
Dang. Oh,
I
yeah, you was
listened
trying to
at
get
one
through
point.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, I did listen at 1.5. No, I listened at 1.7 because Audible only does 1.7. So I listened at 1.7 for maybe 50%. And I'm
Mm.
like, okay, I can't. So then I started reading the book. So I started reading the book. So I'm like, I can read faster
That's
than
what it
she's
is. Yep,
talking.
yep. I've done
So
that.
I'm like, okay, I'm going to read the book. And then I had to work today. So I'm like, okay, I need to speed this up
Oh,
a lot. So I put it on 2x.
okay.
Finished it out, finished like the last 25% on 2x.
Wow. Yeah, because her voice is pretty decent even to listen at that speed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, I did like her voice. I think she did well with all male, female. The kids sounded like kids.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't sound like old, or her voice. She did a good switch or transition over to youth, older men, men. So yeah, I enjoyed her.
Yeah, I definitely will not hesitate if I see more by her. But I will hesitate to read more Alma Katsu because I understand like a lot of her books have the same historical fiction
Oh,
vibe with her trying to incorporate other elements.
okay.
And again, if it's anything like this, it's gonna be a fail for me.
Yeah, I agree.
I think one and done, I think.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at her other stuff. The other one that really caught my attention because of the gorgeous cover art
Ooh,
was The Taker.
let me look at that.
And The Reckoning is the second book. I wanted to read this so much because this cover art is so.
Let me look at that.
Uh-oh. I'm in
Oh
the
yeah,
screen.
the taker is really pretty.
Yeah. And I'm like, what is this about? And
It's got the
yeah,
same
no.
type of rating.
Yeah, I'm out. I'm out. And it's only like 3,000 ratings.
Yeah.
So I thought she was a lot more popular than really is.
Mhm.
So I think I'm done. This was an experience.
Yeah, I agree.
So shall we rate it? Do you have more points? Should we cover? Do you have more points?
No,
We
we
should.
basically, talked about everything. One of my pros was the trail, the weather that she used those two as characters. I really did enjoy that. But
Mhm.
that's about that. I'm done.
Okay. Okay, I'm curious to see what you rated it because I was flip flopping on two numbers
I am
for the
too.
last 2 hours.
I am too. Because it, and I know we don't do halves, so I was kind of
No.
like at a 2.5.
Mhm.
Um, I'm just gonna say I gave it a 3.
Mhm.
Um, because when I look at my pros and cons, they're about even.
Mhm.
So it wasn't horrible. but it didn't meet the mark that we thought it was, the horror part. So yeah. I'm gonna give it a 3.
I was going back and forth between a 2 and a 3.
Yeah.
And I also said, if I could do a 0.5, this would be the appropriate time.
Yeah.
But I ended up going with a 3 because I did enjoy like the last 30% of the book.
Yeah.
And I see what she was trying to do.
Yeah.
And I think she gets points for that. I think it was a very ambitious thing to tackle. And she didn't quite deliver it, but I think it was a good effort.
Yeah.
But I would not go around recommending this to anyone.
No. And I saw in some of the reviews, people were saying, read, is it Terror by Dan Simmons? I don't think I ever want to read this story again, but people were saying, oh, there's so many other better retellings of this story. But I believe somebody said Terror by somebody Simmons. And
yeah, it is Dan Simmons.
Yeah. And then, I think there was something else, another story. But I think I'm good on the Donner Party. I don't need to.
Ooh, look, girl, I looked up this book. First off, it's a hard no for 2 reasons. So look, the rating is 4.07 for the Terror, almost 59,000 ratings, but 769 pages. Hell to the no, to the no, no.
I'm good.
No, there's too much Donner Party for me.
Yeah. They're trying to take us on the trail, like we are on the trail for real.
Yeah.
This was too much. 10 hours of this was too much.
Yeah, that would be like a 15 or 16 hour, maybe 20-hour audiobook, depending on how slow the narrator is.
Yeah.
So, no. But yeah, if someone else is interested, go for it and let me know how it is.
Take one for the team, you guys.
Yeah.
But I'm good on the Donner Party. Thank you, Elma.
Yes.
I appreciate it, but yeah.
I'm finished. We're finito with that. I got my little October horror fixin' for the podcast, although I've been reading a lot more horror things on my own that have been very good.
Yeah, I've heard.
You guys can check the shelf bites on the feed for the last couple of weeks. There's some good options there if you want something that's going to fit your horror fix.
Yeah.
That are much better than this.
Yeah. I've already I think I bought one of them. The book, but I think I want the audio. Because one of you said, wait, are we closing this one out?
Oh, yeah. Okay, let's close it out, y'all. We are going to finish talking about this over on the after show.
I was like, wait a minute. Are we done?
We're done. So if you are curious about what we're going to talk about next, the after show is available on Patreon, and we'll see you over there. We are done for today. Thank you for listening to the entire episode. Please don't forget to like and share this episode and subscribe wherever you're listening. And we'll be right back here next month. And if you want to join us for book club, you can find us there too. The links are in the show notes. We'll catch you next time. Take care of yourselves. Bye, guys. If you enjoyed today's episode and would like to show your support, there are a few things you can do. Head on over to Apple Podcasts and leave a positive 5-star review, or like this episode on your favorite podcast player. It seems so simple, but it really helps me out. You can share this podcast with other book nerd friends or on your favorite social media space. You can also join the Shelf Addiction Patreon family. For as little as $2 a month, you will help us produce even more awesome content for your ears. You can also consider joining the Shelf Addiction official Facebook group, where we talk all things bookish and more in a safe space. The Shelf Addiction podcast is a part of the Nerdy Maven Network. You can also reach us via email at info@shelfaddiction.com. Thank you for listening.